So we were discussing this chapter from Krugman, and I think we have done efficiency gains in the last recording. So we are building up the case for free trade. Why exactly free trade should be favored, right? And there are arguments both in favor of and in against of free trade in this chapter. So we are first of all doing free trade, case for free trade. And we have done this already, efficiency gains. Now we will look at dynamic benefits. So additional gains from trade. What are those additional gains from? In additional gains from trade, we are looking at dynamic gains. Now, these dynamic gains are those that they will take some time to actually manifest themselves. So these gains will take some time. So first of all, we're looking at economies of. So what do you see in case of economies of scale is that in case if the markets are protected, this gives rise to very small inefficient firms. So in 1964, in Argentina, when the markets were protected, your text tells that 13 different firms were producing only 166,000 total cars, right? But a single efficient plant, if there was only one firm, it could have efficiently produced 80,000 cars on its own. So you just need two such plants. So the point we are putting across is too much of protectionism, it actually leads to inefficient firms. When you don't have that protectionism, you are allowing for free trade. Everybody will have to improve themselves. They have to become efficient. They have to reduce their costs. Right? And with that, efficiency is promoted. With that, you achieve efficient level of production. So free trade is also going to provide a constant incentive to entrepreneurs that you have to innovate. If they don't innovate, cheaper imports will come to their markets and they will have to compete with them. It is going to be very difficult for them. So they have to innovate. They have to better themselves. They have to make them more efficient. Or they have to find out new export markets in order to gain revenue. Right? So you understand this? With free trade, there is an incentive to innovate. And this innovation is going to bring new learnings to them. They will understand new kinds of products. They will understand new ways of doing the same thing, better ways of doing the same thing. I mean, and compare this with a system in which everything is managed. No foreign competition, no free trade. There is a restriction on import. If there is a restriction on imports, why will you innovate? You know that you're not going to get any competition from abroad. Why will you innovate? You won't, right? So free trade also helps in innovation and learning. Other thing you have to understand is that free trade is going to do one thing. Free trade is going to push high productivity firms to come in the forefront. They are the most efficient firms. They are able to survive competition, right? The industrial mix is of high productivity firms because lower productivity firms will go out of the competition, will go out due to competition. Maybe the competition from abroad or competition from domestic firms, but they will go out. So what remains? High productivity firms. In your industrial mix, what kind of firms remain? High productivity firms. And these high productivity firms, they do what? They are the main firms which are going to engage in the export market. Why it is good for the country? Because with exports, more valuable foreign exchange will come into your country. Right. So all of these reasons are the reasons for that you should allow for free trade. One reason we have seen last time. You allow for free trade, deadweight loss is going to fall. Efficiency loss is going to be minimized. Then these reasons, economies of scale, innovation and learning, productivity shifts. So all of these are the reasons for free trade. Then the text discusses one very important point of problem of rent seeking. So government wants to reduce imports. That is a good thing. It can reduce imports by putting tariffs, or it can reduce imports by putting quotas. Okay. When it put quotas, there is another problem which might arise. These quotas are valuable. So the firms, they would want to have these quotas and they waste their resources in order to get these quotas. I'll tell you an example. In 1960s and 70s in India, quotas were given based on how many machines one particular firm had. So if I have a lot of machines, the probability that I'll get that quota is going to be higher. So what will I do? I will build my capacity. Even though I'm not going to use these many machines, but I can show that I have these many machines. You can give me quota, right? Import licenses. So this is all a wasteful expenditure. This gives rise to rent seeking. So this also tells why trade should be free. This is also a case for free trade. If you do not do this, and if you put barriers such as quota, this kind of problem might arise. So this is also giving an argument why there should be a free trade. Another reason why free trade should be allowed is because that is the best policy any government should follow, is likely to follow, even if it is not perfect in the theoretical sense. So maybe, let's say, so the example which your text gives is the problem of special interest capture. I'm government. You guys are a very powerful lobby, right? So I'm putting some tariffs. You are going to influence my decision. You are going, even if the tariffs are going to be imposed, right? I'm going to be influenced by you. I'm going to be influenced by what you want. So even if the tariff is going to be imposed, the gains are going to go towards you only, ultimately. So that thing that you have selective tariffs that is going to be very helpful to nation, that is not necessarily true. That may be helpful to certain groups, very, very powerful groups. Any agency which is trying to capture or to manage trade is likely to be influenced by these groups. You just cannot get away with that. And the other thing is that these groups are going to use their influence to turn the policy into their favor, right? And they will redistribute income to themselves. That is the point. So I will sit with you in real life. I'm the agency who is going to put tariff. I'll be sitting with the most powerful people. And we will decide, okay, how much tariff we should put, how the income is going to be redistributed, what other policy I can make. So this is the policy which I have to show it to the world, to the country. But what should I do to you? So those things, yeah. Avoiding the Pandora's box. Supposedly you are industry 1 and there is another person sitting whose industry is 2. I put tariff for you, right? So I said that the raw materials which you are importing, or for example, there is some foreign competition to you and I'm going to increase their price. I'm going to increase their price through tariff. I have protected you, na? You guys are industry 1, I have protected you. Suddenly industry 2 will start. You have protected him. You should be protecting me also. Till how long it will go? I cannot protect everyone. I cannot protect every industry. So if this is the case of government intervention, these are the problems which I might encounter by putting tariffs, by putting quotas. Why on earth I should put them? Why not allow free trade only? So all of these are the arguments for free trade. Why free trade should be allowed, right? You need to explain this also. I've explained it to you. You need to write this, right? So I hope it was useful to you. Thank you, Beta.